It's any form of coercion of people in the home, so men, women, children. But usually it's about a man doing some form of harm to a woman, physical, emotional, social, financial. So much about domestic violence is actually hidden that so many women don't tell anyone about what's happening for them because they feel shame, they feel embarrassed, they don't want to admit that things are not going right in their relationship. They want to live a happy family life, and so they often choose to ignore some of the very early signs or some of the more emotional issues. All the evidence tells us that it is women who primarily suffer, women and children. But of course there are some men who are harmed in their relationships by women or by their male partners. So of course there are men affected, but in nowhere near the same numbers as women. Some of the really obvious effects are obviously the physical injury and harm to women. We see that. We see some of the consequences of some of the emotional and financial. So if a woman can't control her own money, she may not pay her rent, she may get into rent arrears, and we're talking to her about her rent arrears, and she doesn't want to tell us that actually this bloke is actually taking all our money, and the best she can do is feed her children, never mind pay her rent. Probably the most long-lasting and challenging issue is that women often flee, so they leave their homes behind and are homeless. And the single largest cause of homelessness in Australia is domestic violence. So there are more homeless people fleeing from domestic violence than from any other cause in this country. So we have about 2,000 tenants, 1,000 tenancies. We don't know how many of our tenants are experiencing violence in the home, domestic violence. We only know about the number of people who we're actually actively working with today on the issue. So that for us is a relatively small number, less than 10. So it's really important for us that our tenants are able to talk to our staff here, that our staff know the kind of support that they can offer people, that we can offer and that we can find from the police, from refuges, from family services, from Centrelink, from whomever we think can be helpful. But it's our general principle that women are the people who best understand their situation and who can make good decisions if they have good information. But if you can imagine making decisions when someone's beating you, it's pretty hard to make a good decision. So what we want to do is help women as much as we can without putting them in any kind of jeopardy. When there is actually violence in the home, there's often physical damage to the property. And it used to be that organisations would, if there was damage and he caused it, organisations would send her a bill for that damage. So we've changed our policy around that, and we would recommend that every real estate agent, every property owner does the same. It's a disgrace that women should have to pay for the privilege of being beaten. Because nobody wants to believe the person they love could possibly do that to them. Nobody ever wants to believe that it was anything other than an isolated incident. Nobody ever wants to believe that the person that you've decided to spend your life with could want to cause you that kind of harm. If someone needs to move, then we will help that woman move to another home. We would prefer that someone not go to a refuge and be homeless. We would rather just straightforwardly move someone to another home. If someone wants to stay in their home, then we would make sure that they have the full range of support services that enable them to stay at home safely. So making sure they have legal protections, police protections, family support. We would always work with the woman concerned, so it's about her choices and her decisions. So if she needs support from the school, then we will work with the school and her to make that happen. If she needs a family support service or counselling, then we'll help with that. If she needs medical assistance, it's about her and her needs, and we will develop a plan with her, not for her, but with her, and we will bring in all of the other organisations that we know well, that we work with, and who provide incredibly valuable services to that relationship. But it's about, we do believe that she is the person in the best position to make decisions about her life today, and we will always work with her around that. We do need to teach boys about the acceptable treatment of women. But men now need to take responsibility for changing their own behaviour and changing the behaviour of other men. That is the main strategy now. It's why the Housing Trust is becoming a white ribbon accredited workplace. It's not that we want to see all government resources go to support men, but we absolutely believe that men must change their behaviour and that it is other men who have to drive that.